welcome to another episode of Make Mental Health Matter, the show where I talk to guests on Monday who are professionals or advocates in the mental health space, and Wednesdays, the warriors that are sharing their story, whatever they have been through in life, so that you can maybe identify something they've gone through that you noticed and really looking to that place of hope. So it is Wednesday and it's Warrior Wednesday. I again don't have a guest for today, which is totally okay because September is National Suicide Awareness Month. There are a lot of things that BCC Evolution, my nonprofit, is doing this month. I know that I talk about it occasionally, but I do try to give a lot more space for my guests to be able to share their story, their business, and why they are on the show in general. So I don't talk as much about it, but then we have those in-between shows that I don't happen to have a guest planned, and that's okay because then I get a chance to come on and share a little bit more information about myself, my background, my nonprofit information, and so much more. And I know you all love spending time with me, don't you? I want to just go over a couple things. So if it happens to be the first time you're watching, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure if you happen to be watching this on YouTube that you're clicking down that subscribe button so that you don't miss another episode. And or if you're watching on E360 TV or any of the other TV streaming platforms, make sure you add us into your wish list, your watch list, your want to watch list, whatever it happens to be called, so that you don't miss another episode. Because every single guest that I have on are really, truly amazing. And I believe the information that I bring to you when I don't have a guest is really important. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and make sure if you want to, or if what I happen to talk about is valuable, that you share this with others so that they can also learn. And before I go into what I'm saying, I want you to know that this Make Mental Health Matter show is brought to you by our sponsor, Dusty DeGroff at Edwards Jones, Denver, Colorado. So if you want a financial advisor who puts you first, be sure to call Dusty. And all you need to do is reach out to me and I will connect you directly to him. No need to go just call his number directly. You can reach out to me at support at BCC Evolution. support at bccevolution.org, and I can do a warm introduction into him and any other guests that I've had on the show. I would be more than happy to connect you with any of my guests. So the whole purpose of this show on Mondays and on Wednesdays is to give you resources, information, tools, tips, knowledge into the mental health and suicide awareness prevention space, because BCC Evolution is a mental health and suicide awareness nonprofit. Everything that we do is education based. So I want to share with you a little bit of education as we are talking about Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, which is all of September. It also happens to be, there is World Suicide Prevention Day, which is on the 10th. One of the cool things is that we, Make Mental Health Matter, are having a speaker summit special that day. I know it's a Sunday. I know that it's the beginning of football. I get it. But I promise you, the speakers that I am going to have that day, you do not want to miss it. The special is only an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours long. Every single speaker is going to get about 20 minutes to share their story and the information that they want you to know within that time period. Why is it so important? Because having the conversations that nobody wants to have is actually really important. So, we will be having the summit coming up this Sunday. I know, like, quick turnaround. I talked about it last week, or I don't know, maybe I don't remember what day I talked about it, but I wanted to share that one more time because it will be here on E360 TV as a special at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So, wherever you are in the world, be sure to tune in to hear those stories of all the speakers that we're having. We'll put out some information as to what and who will actually be speaking. I was trying to find a document so that I could share the information directly. Okay. So it is called Embracing Hope. And where to go? Come on. All right. I just lost my document that I had right in front of me. Here we go. Okay. It is going to be called Embracing Hope, Strengthening Mental Resilience on World Suicide Prevention Day. So that will be the here I can pop that up as a banner so you can see it. Dun, 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 dun. So Embracing Hope, Strengthening Mental Resilience on World Suicide Prevention Day. Again, that is going to be Sunday, September 10th. So it is World Suicide Prevention Day on that day specifically at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We will be kicking it off. So be sure to tune in if you don't have anything going on, or if you do. Tune in anyways, or just listen. I don't know. But I will be bringing multiple speakers on that day, and also there will be some freebies if you tune in that we will share. So, without going long and drawn out even more, what I want to share with you today is I want to give you some education. So everything that I do with BCC Evolution, whether I'm speaking on stage, I'm speaking with the show, I am doing actual classes. We offer mental health first aid classes. We also offer our own class, which is Breaking the Cycle of Trauma. And we also partner with Worldwide Institute of Neurolinguistic Programming to offer NLP practitioner certification. So there are lots of ways for us to educate people. Again, whether it's you coming to one of my classes and taking it with me or with one of our other instructors, or if you are having me come into your organization, your group, your school to talk about mental health, whatever that looks like, education is key. So without further ado, let me bring up my screen so that we can just talk this through. All right. So a little bit more information as to what I do specifically. And you should all be able to see this with me just itty bitty in the corner, which is totally fine. So again, September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. What does that mean? It means that we're going to have these conversations that maybe feel really uncomfortable. Maybe they don't. Maybe you're somebody who has had conversations with lots of people as related to suicide. I know myself, I do. That's why I can talk about it. So why do I do what I do? I do that specifically because I'm clicking too fast. I lost my middle sister, Kelli, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017. This is my sister. She was my sister that I grew up with the most out of all of my sisters. I am the baby of 5 girls. And she was my middle sister on my mom's side. So I had 2 on my dad's, two of my moms, they had me, and I grew up with Carrie, which was on my mom's side the most out of all of my sisters. So she was that one person that I went to for everything, literally everything. And she always had the perfect answer. I don't even know how she did it half the time, because I asked her lots of questions and she always had the perfect answer. So she was that sister. She took care of lots and lots of people. She had millions of friends. I'm serious. Like, she was surrounded with so many people, yet felt completely alone. She also was a caregiver for paraplegic. She was a CPR instructor. She was just that person that gave and gave and gave and gave until she had nothing left for herself. And I didn't understand any of that. But she is my why. And the reason why I do what I do now is because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what she was going through. And I, as I have talked in the past, shut down my emotions to everything that she was going through because I was trying to protect myself. My sister had attempted suicide 6 other times, and I just couldn't be put in that place to actually see it happen, right? Like, so I protected myself. I wanted to be protecting myself, my child, my mental health. And it's really, really hard to take care. I mean, I wasn't like a caregiver to her, but it is really hard to be put in the situation as a caregiver, as a family member of somebody that doesn't want to be alive. It can be really, really hard on our own mental health. So for me, I shut down my emotions and I didn't understand, nor did I even ask any of the questions, what she was going through. And I was going to share also before I went to my screen. Yes, I dyed my hair. Yes, it is red. Some people may or may not have noticed that, but yes, I changed my hair. Anyways, going back to my story, my sister really was that person. She gave and gave and gave. She was always giving to all her friends. She was always giving to all of our family. And I use words like crazy, over dramatic. Those were the words that I said about her because I just didn't understand. But she is the reason why I do what I do. BCC stands for Because Carrie Cared. It also stands for the Blind Carbon Copy email. Why? I don't know. When I was coming up with names, I thought about BCC and that line that you can put a whole bunch of people's name on. You can BCC the world, and nobody even knows that they're on that line. Well, that's how I think about mental health. Is it's there, but you may not know that it's there. Like, you may not know that they have a challenge. You may not know that they have an illness or a disorder or a diagnosis. They may be struggling and you may never know. And that's the whole thing with BCC is you can send it to a billion people and nobody knows who else is on that line. When they respond to you, they're only going to respond to you, not to everybody. So our goal is to get people off of that BCC line and on the 2 line so that they feel like they're not alone and they feel like they're part of a community. And that's where BCC came from. Evolution is because we're ever evolving. We're constantly changing and pivoting and shifting things, not constantly anymore, but we were at least within the first couple of years of BCC Evolution. So what do? BCC, we're really trying to make mental health matter. That's why this show is called Make Mental Health Matter, because we're really trying to make it matter in the lives of everybody, breaking down that stigma and really bridging the gap between when somebody actually starts showing signs and or having symptoms towards a mental health challenge up to the point that they can actually get professional help. There's this gap. And that gap can be anywhere between 2 weeks to 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 years at this point. I heard a study recently in Colorado, based in Colorado, that for youth, the wait list, if you're looking to have your insurance, specific insurances, cover the services, the mental health services for your child, there are waiting lists that are 2 to 3 years long. How in the world would I allow my child to wait 2 or 3 years on a wait list when they may be struggling now? I'm sorry, but I have an 8-year-old and I would absolutely not allow him to wait on a wait list for 2 or 3 years. I'm going to find a private pay person. I'm going to find a different place that we can go. That's not okay with me. Personally, as a parent, that is my thought, but I don't think that anybody should have to wait on a wait list for 2 or 3 years to be seen by a professional. That's not okay. So what we're doing with BCC is we're filling that gap. We're filling it with you, people like you that want to get educated and learn more about mental health and how to support somebody if they are experiencing a mental health challenge, a substance use challenge, or possibly having suicidal ideations. We want to teach you how to get them into the right professional. We want to teach you how to ask them the question about suicide. We want to teach you how to recognize and identify the signs and know what symptoms to listen for so that you can help them. We're bridging that gap between when somebody experiences the mental health challenge up to the point that they can actually get professional help, because you can fill that space. And that's what we're trying to do, because that is the space that we lose the most people to suicide. And what I have found in the time that I have been doing the work that I'm doing is that generally, this is not an absolute, but generally, what leads people to complete the act of suicide is a mental health or substance use challenge. They have, like, substance use is actually a negative coping mechanism, and we can build in positive coping mechanisms too. And I know I've talked about that before. So BCC Evolution, we're really trying to bridge that gap, and we're really filling it with increasing awareness, cultivating the conversation, like these hard conversations that nobody wants to talk about. These are our jam. These are the things that we like to do. We like to have these conversations. And we can also cultivate those conversations with professionals through our trusted resource hub. So we have experts within that space that you can talk to now versus having to go on that wait list. And then we're going to provide education. It's that education around mental health in general. And we talk about substance use, we talk about the brain, we talk about suicidal ideation, we talk about a lot of different things in all of the classes that we do. So it just depends on which class you are interested in taking. But the mental health first aid is going to give you that general overview. It's going to give you a template as to how to help somebody when they might be struggling or in need. And then our breaking the cycle of trauma is going to give you a little bit more. It's going to go more in detail with the brain, how the brain works, why trauma affects us at different places in our life. So lots of ways to get educated. And really, we're just looking to educate everyone that we possibly can to really break down the stigma and start saving lives. So our goal is to educate 1 million people by 2030. And we are well on our way, especially with this show and being at about 5,000 viewers. So every single way that we can talk and have these conversations, that's education in my mind. So how can you help someone this month? I'm going to share all of this information as soon as we get back from this sponsored break. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Kimberly L. Wilson, also known as Dr. Burnout. You can catch me on Leadership Beyond Burnout on E360 TV on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Vitality Network, where we focus on emerging women leaders and women leaders.
Did you know that you can actually be a sponsor for Make Mental Health Matter show? You can put your commercial right there. You may have noticed that's actually for BCC Evolution. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about our Warrior program. Or maybe you just listen to the music. I'm not really sure, but I'll talk about that here in a moment. So let's go back to what I was talking about and how you can help someone this month and any month really moving forward, but specifically for Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. So education is key, and asking the question. These two questions specifically are important for you to remember and for you to ask. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? Those are the two questions that you want to use. And I'm curious why we would use killing and suicide instead of harming or hurting. And you can drop a comment if you know the answer to that. Let me know what your thoughts are, or share in the comments or share in questions. You can share with why you think those are different, or why you should use killing and suicide instead of harming or hurting. But I'll tell you why. So type, maybe. But those two questions are the ones that you want to ask. And it depends. It really is important, not depends. It is really important. Those are the words and the language that you use, because I'm going to see if anybody gets this. Maybe. All right. It takes a little too much time for typing, but the reason is because harming and hurting are very different than killing and suicide. He was part of the videos that we do. And he said in one of those videos that had somebody asked him twice, he would have spilled his guts. But nobody ever asked him more than once. And that's why I always tell people to ask twice. Why? Because our brains naturally, so if you think about when you're walking down the road, or you're walking in a building, right? You go by somebody and you're like, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Good. Whether we mean it or not, whether I'm really actually doing good or not doing good, I'm going to say good, because why would I want somebody to know that I'm not doing good, especially when I'm just passing them? Or when you're texting somebody, right? You're like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, I'm great. That's just like a natural response that our brain is going to give. Our brain generally gives a false answer the very first time we are asked, because it is designed to protect us. It is designed to veer towards pleasure and away from pain. So if I tell somebody when they ask me, how are you doing today? If I say, I'm not very good. Like, today sucks. It's a horrible day. My brain is going to be like, well, now you got to explain. Like, if you're going to tell somebody that, now you have to explain to them what's going on. So my brain is naturally going to say good, even though I know in the back of my mind, I'm not doing very good. But I don't want them to know that. Why would I want somebody to know that? Why would I want to put that burden on them to try to ask me more questions, right? So that's what I'm saying, is our brain naturally has these automatic responses because we're conditioned to veer towards pleasure and away from pain. Therefore, the initial response that you get from these questions may be, no, I'm fine. Or, no, that's not what I'm thinking. Why would you even ask me that question? That can be alerting also if they go into defense mode of why you're asking the question. So I tell people, ask this question twice, Not in a row. It doesn't have to be like, are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about killing yourself? No. Are you thinking about killing yourself? No. Why would you even ask me that? Hey, I'm just really concerned about you. And I've noticed that you haven't really been hanging out with your friends. I've noticed that we haven't really been talking as much as we used to. I've noticed that you've seemed really depressed, really sad. I've observed that you've stayed at home more often than you come out now. I'm wondering if you're okay. I'm curious if you wanted to talk. Give them a chance to answer some of those questions. I just now used I statements and inserted facts that are true. And if I feel like the no was legit, they're not thinking that way, okay, now I'm going to use some listening skills, and I'll go to that in a minute. But if you're still concerned about what they're saying, ask again. Are you thinking about suicide? Pause. And don't do what my little guy's eyes are doing. No deer in the headlights when they say what they're going to say. Let's reserve the facial expressions and stay as calm, cool, and collected as we can. I think about a swan on a pond. I like a swan versus a duck. The swan on the pond. So we're going to be like a cool, calm, collected swan on the pond, even though in the back of our minds, we're probably like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what they're going to say. Right? We're going to be like paddling underneath the surface. Our little legs are going 20 million miles an hour because we're a swan. And we look like we're cool, calm, collected on the surface as we ask these questions. It is very important, the tone, the expressions, where we put pronunciations. So instead of being or saying, are you thinking about killing yourself? Or are you oh gosh. Are you thinking about suicide? Right? Those are very different than are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? Very different in the delivery, in the tone, in my confidence, in my body posture. It's very important with this question that we ask those in that manner. It's hard. I am not going to say that this question is easy to, either of these questions are easy to ask by any means, but practice makes perfect. And you can do that by coming to one of my classes. You can do that by reaching out to me and asking me more questions. You can do that by taking this information today, go into your bathroom, watch your face, watch your body language. Are you a cool, calm, collected swan? Or are you freaking out and panicking when you have to say this? Because I promise you, if you're freaking out and panicking and you say this to somebody that is actually suicidal, you are not going to get the information that you need to be able to help them. And for that one moment that you feel uncomfortable asking this question, is it not better to be uncomfortable in that moment than it is to be going to that person's funeral? I'm going to ask that again, because oftentimes we get very uncomfortable in asking questions. We let all the things going on in our mind take over what's coming out of our mouth. So are we going to take that moment of being uncomfortable, asking this question, cool, calm, collected, like the swan on the pond, and not freaking out as that moment of uncomfortableness versus having to go to somebody's funeral? I promise you, you will want to take this moment to ask that question of somebody that you love or are concerned about versus having to show up at their funeral. So let me go back to the 2 questions that you want to ask. Are you thinking about killing yourself? And are you thinking about suicide? Those are the 2 questions that I want you to ask, and try to stay, not try, but do stay away from killing, stay away from harming or hurting, and don't do the deer in headlights after you get your answers. So let me help you with the next step. Like, what do I do after somebody says this, or I say that, or they answer the questions, or I don't even know, right? Panicking, panicking, panicking. That's okay. Breathe. We're cool, calm, collected. And then what do I do next? I'm going to tell you. If they do say yes, then I'm going to want to find out when, where, and how, or what means that they have obtained for this. I want to find out more about their plan. I want to know the level of planning at this point, so I can ask these questions. When have you thought about killing yourself? Have you thought about where you'll do it? Or what have you collected to do this? And if they give you any of that information, what I want you to do is not take that moment as not being serious. Like, we're in a crisis now. We're in a situation that we need to connect this person to professional help. Whether we do that through calling 988, call, text, chat, whichever way it is. 988 in the United States. 988 is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There are people there 24/7 that will help you walk through the next steps. You do not have to do this on your own. But I would suggest you call, not them call. Do it as a collaborative, or connect them with a professional. If this is something that they have had suicidal thoughts in the past, maybe they have gone into a facility, maybe they understand that they've had depression for a very long time, we can connect them to whomever might be their trusted person. Connect them to somebody that they trust. If you don't know who that is, they don't know who that is, then utilize your resources around you, which can be 988. It can also be the crisis line. You can text home to 741-741. And I'll give you all these resources in just a moment. But we want to figure out the timeline, the plan. Do they have a plan? Or is this just something that they want to express how badly they're feeling at this moment? And maybe suicide or killing themselves are something that they're not looking to actually do, but we don't know that. And once we have information about their plan, then we can take this and pass this off to a professional who can actually help them. But I want you to also think about, if they tell you within that timeline that it's next week or next month or next year, I don't want you to be like, oh, all right, I got a week. I'm good. I'll go tell somebody about it tomorrow, or I'll go tell somebody about it in another time. No. We are in crisis now. Now is the time to go connect them to that professional, because you don't know if it's actually a week away. You don't know if it's a day away. You don't know if it's an hour away. You have no idea. They have no idea. The actions can happen much more sporadic. It's not just like the timeline and they're like, oh yeah, at 5 o'clock on this day, blah, blah, blah. No, we're in a crisis now if they have a plan. But I also want you to know that a higher level of planning does not mean that we have a higher level of risk, and or vice versa. A lower level of planning does not mean that we are not now in a crisis. If they have any planning or they answer yes, we need to connect them to a professional right away. Somebody who can help them now versus 2 weeks to 2 years. If they say no, then we're going to use our noticing skills. We're going to use our non-judgmental listening skills. We're going to use these things between our head that can listen. We're going to take all of our stuff out of this conversation, and we're going to actively, non-judgmentally listen to them. What does that mean? I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to give you advice. I'm not here to share my story with you. This is about you. This is not about me. Again, this is about them. This is not about you. We're going to use these two things that we have to listen to them. We're going to allow them to share whatever they need to share at that moment. Because I'm telling you, being a sounding board or somebody that will actually listen in a space where you feel completely defeated, you feel like you're completely alone, you feel like you're a burden on everybody around you, having one person ask you the question and actually care to listen can save a life. I've had several people that have taken my class in the past, and before even they took my class, I asked them the question. I have only had to ask this question maybe a handful of times over the past 6 years when I learned this. It's still hard to this day, but it's also something that's fairly natural for me to ask when I'm concerned about somebody. I had one of my friends who happened to be a guest on my show twice. She has told me that had I not asked her this question, she would have never realized that she was actually truly in a crisis and she would not be alive today. That is huge. Being able to ask the question, showing somebody that you care, showing somebody that they actually mean something to you, and that you're going to give them the safe space and the place to be vulnerable and share with you whatever they are experiencing. So I'm telling you, when you want to listen, when you listen non-judgmentally, this truly is a skill, because naturally as humans, we want to fix people. We want to give them a solution. We want to help them move through whatever they're going through. But in this space, I ask you to simply listen. Silence is going to be your best friend. Allow them to collect their thoughts. Allow them to share whatever's going on. And again, no deer in the headlights. What? That's probably going to make them not want to talk to you. And if they're not ready to listen to you, that's okay. We're planting seeds. We're letting them know that I am a safe space. I want to help you. And if you need somebody to talk to, I am here. Don't try to go into these conversations if you have a million things that you're trying to do, because I promise you, you're going to need time to listen. And if they say no, that's okay. Let's use our listening and observing and noticing skills at this point. So these are a couple things that I train people in my classes, whether you're coming to the mental health first aid classes, or you're coming to the Breaking the Cycle of Trauma class, or maybe you're taking one of my masterminds, or maybe you're bringing me into your company or organization to have me speak about these simple tools. These are all things that I educate people on. And here are some more resources that I told you I would share with you. So BCC Evolution, we offer a grief and loss support group on Mondays at 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We also have a guide that we offer, which is 7 strategies to mental wellness. It also gives you your personal safety and self-care plan, which ultimately can also save a life, because you never know when you might be in that dark place and you'll need resources, information, or just a reminder of the things that you're grateful for, the people that have your back no matter what. There are multiple different things on this specific safety and self-care plan that can guide you through these thoughts. And as you're watching the Make Mental Health Matter show with me, I bring you resources, information, people. My guests are your resources. They are those people that have decided to share with you what they do, and most all of them are not on a wait list, which is pretty cool. So I talked about earlier the 988. So in the United States, it is 988. Again, you can call, you can text, you can also chat with them. If you go to the 988lifeline.org, you can actually chat with them. The other one, which we do have on BCC Evolution, is the crisis text line. You can text home, hi, hello, to 741-741. And also BCC Evolution most recently made a partnership with BetterHelp to be able to give everyone on our list access to 30 days of free counseling. That gives you 4 sessions with one of their licensed therapists. And if you decide to continue after those 4, then you get a 15% discount on their monthly or their fees in general. So that is pretty cool. So if you're not signed up for the BCC Evolution newsletter or just our updates, really, then go sign up for that. And that is at bccevolution.org. You can also find our free guide, more information about our grief and loss support group. And then also all of those resources are on our trusted resource hub, which is fairly new. We've had lots and lots of resources in the past, mainly online, but now we're really starting to incorporate people, places for crisis, non-crisis, people in recovery. We have LGBTQ plus. We have all of them pretty much broken down. So men versus women versus youth versus veterans, all of the above, right? So go to our trusted resource hub for more information and lots more resources. Couldn't quite fit them all on one slide. And lastly, as I talked even last week, the best way for you to support BCC Evolution is through our Warrior for Mental Health donor program. You can become a monthly donor by supporting BCC Evolution with only $19 or month. All of the funds that we collect here go towards our programs. That's awareness, conversation, and education. Mainly all of this goes towards the education piece because we love to be able to sponsor our classes for anybody at low income or rural communities. So we, again, only $19 or more per month. You can also donate annually if that's one way that you like to do it. And everyone that donates within September, which is this month, you will also get access to a free mental health first aid class. Again, that's what we do with these funds. You're already donating, so therefore you should be taking advantage of our classes too. And as a thank you for this month, not only do you get one of these super cool t-shirts, the Warrior for Mental Health, that you can show the world that you are a warrior for mental health. You also, when you donate in September, we are going to collect the list and we are going to offer classes to all of those people. So you'll be able to get educated in mental health first aid, and you get a 3-year certification just like you would for CPR that ultimately gives you access. I'm like, brain, come on. Gives you access to the certification that shows that you are also a mental health first aider. That's what we call them, is mental health first aiders. So with all of this said, again, I did this presentation for my networking group a little bit different this morning. So we already have certain members of our Colorado Business Connection group that is a warrior. So that's why I had thank you to our current warriors here. But I am just thankful we have now, I don't know how many total right now, but our goal is to get to 1,000 new Warrior for Mental Health donors, because with that money coming in every single month, we can host 2 to 3 full classes with 30 participants in each class every single month. Like, how cool is that? I mean, free ones, like access to free classes, and we can continue to offer our grief and loss support group for free. We can also start incorporating all of these other programs that we're really trying to get up and running, which includes our awareness program, the awareness around music, art, and travel, and how those three things can actually help and benefit your mental health. So, if you're not signed up as a warrior yet, please take a screenshot of this QR code and or go to bccevolution.org. You can go to the warrior. It's warrior/for/mental/health. It's kind of long, but just go to bccevolution.org, click on donate and or let's see, what's the verbiage? I always forget. Get involved. It's under get involved. So go to the get involved tab, and that will take you to the Warrior for Mental Health page. Whew, that was a lot of information, but all good information. Hopefully that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can again drop them in the comments. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, I filter and monitor all of our comments across all of our social media channels, across YouTube. We are on every single social media channel, but this specifically goes out to E360 TV on the Achieve TV channel. It also goes to YouTube and our Facebook page, which is the Make Mental Health Matter show. So if you have any questions or concerns or comments or things that you just want to bring up as related to mental health or suicide prevention, especially during this month, reach out to me. Myself or somebody on my team will be able to respond to you. And go to bccevolution.org. Make sure that you sign up to be a warrior for mental health today. If you didn't get that QR code, here it is one more time that you can go ahead and scan that QR code right now and become a warrior for mental health with only a $19 donation or more per month. And you'll get this super awesome t-shirts. And in September, you will get access to a free mental health first aid class. We'll give you some options. So it's not, you're not like, oh, I got to go sign up for September or October or November. I'll give you some options. You will have 6 months to utilize that free class. We do them every single month. So you'll get a chance, I promise you, you'll have plenty of options to be able to go sign up for a class. You do, again, have to use it within 6 months. But if you donate in September, we're giving you not one, not two. Okay, yeah, 2 things. Like infomercial time. No. Cool shirts, if you choose. I would love for you to have this showcase to the world that you are a warrior for mental health and that you support an amazing cause that's giving back to the community. And then the second thing is you're going to get access to being able to take one of our mental health first aid classes sponsored by all the warriors, which includes you. Hey, you know. And then if you donate $39 or more, you actually get one of our really cool tumblers. And I don't have one. I was going to say, where is it? I don't have one over here, but that's okay. It does say Warrior for Mental Health on the tumbler also. We don't have very many of those left. So if you want one of those, make sure you go and sign up this month. Once they're gone until we can order some more. So make sure before the supplies go bye-bye that you get yours. They're really, really cool tumblers that hold water. There's actually a couple different ones, so it just depends. It's kind of random. Whatever I decide to send to you is what I'll send. Anyways, all right, y'all. That was a lot of information. I appreciate you watching. I am curious. What will you do in September that will help somebody? And how can you go and practice asking those two questions? Because you never really know when somebody might be struggling, and you might have to ask that question. And it's better to be cool, calm, collected, like the swan, than freaking out on the bottom. Whatever you do, make sure you join us this Sunday. It is this Sunday on October 10th for World Suicide Prevention Day. Our special will be airing across E360 TV. There will be lots more marketing happening very, very soon. But join us at 5 p.m. on Sunday, Mountain Standard Time, wherever you are in the world. I don't know what that translates to. It is 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, and 4 Pacific time. So if you're in one of those time zones, that's what time it is. And I will see you all on Sunday and on Monday. I do have a guest for Monday. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back on the next episode. Bye.